Welcome to A Woman's Brew, where women talk about beer. Today, we're turning back the clocks to a previously unreleased summer game of Guess the Lager. I'm Joanne, and this is Tori.
Hello, hello.
And we're two beer-loving women on a mission to get more people drinking and talking about great beer. Come join us. Well, this is it's not really a bonus episode. It's a bit of a
Too long for a bonus.
We didn't get round to sorting it out, so here you go. Here it is in January episode.
As promised, when I went away in the summertime to the US to celebrate Jeff Goldblum and freedom and Eagles and all that kind of stuff, I said I was going to play a game of Guess the Lack of Flaves, aka Guess the American Light Lagers. So I tried to find like a mix of craft and non-craft ones. Obviously Joe wasn't able to join me on this venture this time, but Rick was there and Rick set up all the blind guessing. I'm not going to tell you the outcome yet. We're just going to sort of like we'll lead into it in a minute after we sort of like recap it, and then at the end it'll be a nice little chat because I want to know what Joe thought because she did watch back to know how long it was, so it would be funny, but I don't want spoilers before you actually watch it. So it was fun, I will say that. It was fun and it was hilarious because we were trying to record at my mum's house before everyone came home because we had like a gap where everyone was out for a bit.
Yeah.
And then I was like, all right, let's do it, let's record, sort of thing. And then like all of a sudden the very end of it was like, okay, everyone's home now, bye. And then it's just like, and turn it off. But yeah, so hopefully the audio quality is not too bad because I gave up on trying to use the Bluetooth microphones. So
there you go. This is all the behind the scenes information that you don't normally get when we're doing these sorts of things. We have talked about American Light Lager as a style previously. If you haven't listened to that episode, dear listener, or you've forgotten, you can go back and listen to our episode about American Light Lager. That was episode 199. We've got so many episodes now.
I know. That's crazy, though. We're going to be on 200. Well, we're over 200. Yeah, we're over 200. But what I mean is, like, can you believe that, like,
I know.
we are over that 200 mark?
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah. And if you don't want to go back and listen to that episode, because we have got a lot of episodes and we totally get it.
Sometimes a lot of scrolling.
Yes, it can be a lot of scrolling. And they are all there now because they disappeared for a little bit, but they are definitely there now.
They're
back. Here is a little rundown of what an American Light Lager should be from the BJCP guidelines. This upsets Tori every time.
It does.
Just to warn you.
Angry. It makes me irrationally mad. I would argue rationally angry. But
yeah. So the aroma should be low to no malt aroma, although it can be perceived as grainy, sweet, or corn-like if present. Hop aroma is light to none, with a spicy or floral hop character if present. While a clean fermentation character is desirable, a light amount of yeast character, particularly a light apple fruitiness, is not a fault. Light DMS is not a fault. So no flavours, but if there are flavours, they're probably
going to taste like off flavours.
Yeah. It should look very pale straw to pale yellow in colour, with a white frothy head that seldom persists. So as well, there's probably not going to be much of a head. But it should be very clear. For the flavors, if there are any, it should have a relatively neutral palate with a crisp and dry finish and a low to very low grainy or corn-like flavour that might be perceived as sweetness due to the low bitterness. Hop flavour ranges from none to low levels and can have a floral, spicy or herbal quality, although really strong enough to be detected. Low to very low hop bitterness. Balance may vary from slightly malty to slightly bitter, but is relatively close to even. High levels of carbonation may accentuate the crispness of the dry finish. You get that like carbonic bite because it's just so, there's nothing else going on and there's just that like sparkling water element to it. Clean lager fermentation character. The mouthfeel should be very light, sometimes watery. Very high carbonation with a slight carbonic bite on the tongue. An overall highly carbonated, very light-bodied, nearly flavourless lager designed to be consumed very cold. Very refreshing and thirst-quenching, apparently. So that's what Tori was going to try. She was going to try all the different American ones.
It's so angering because it's like everything that you're supposed to do and not do and not, like it's all back, like it feels all backwards. So like, never serve beer like too cold. It's like, this, my dude, listen brother, you gotta serve it cold. But it's like, is it gonna look nice? Like, nah, there's probably
No.
gonna be a head that's on it for 30 seconds.
It'll be
Probably
clear,
not
though.
much longer. It'll be clear, but it will sort of look like dehydrated pee. And then also, like, there's probably no flavor, but if you do get any flavor, it potentially could taste like off flavors. So it's like, that feels like the TLDR of it. It's
There you
just
go.
like no flaves.
No flaves.
But if there are and it doesn't taste good, that's not a fault. That is what it should be like. So I guess you'll have to watch and see how well I did at guessing the flavors that were there and were out and about. I pushed myself to drink some things that I was like, I don't want to drink this. And then I was also
science.
really stressed that I was like, what if I really fuck this up? And it would be really embarrassing. Maybe I embarrassed myself and that's why we haven't released it for so long. I don't know.
So I did one a couple of summers ago, and I got like your generic easy to get lagers that you can get from the supermarket if you're going to your friend's house and these are what they happen to have when you go to a barbecue, which one is the least offensive to a to a craft beer drinker? And similarly, I got my husband to bring them in blind to me, and he thought it was really funny because at one point I was like, oh, this one's not too bad, and it was Foster's. So
that's the one thing that I think there was one.
It didn't end up being the best one. I think the best one ended up being Peroni, but like
I think there was one that I had and I was like immediately adamant that I was like, this is what it is. I can't remember because I've done it a few times now. We've like guessed it, and there's always one that I'm like, I know 100% what that one tastes like. But yeah, it was really stressful. I didn't. Because I was like, oh, and then maybe I embarrassed myself. Maybe I didn't. You'll have to watch.
Now you're going to find out.
Hello. We are here in the US. I was going to record with my family while we were on holiday, but we were too busy. So that didn't happen. So instead, I've decided to do this by myself so I don't have to lug different varieties of light lagers back. I can prioritize other beers.
Yeah.
So what we're doing today is, as I said on a previous episode that probably only came out not that long ago, depending on when this comes out, is I was going to just do a blind tasting of American light lagers, but I made it slightly more interesting. So I've got a Bud Light, a Coors Light, a Miller Light, which I changed my mind on and I like it now. And then I got a craft beer light lager from a place that we went to in Maine. And I've got it all charted out here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And Rick has, so I've covered them in paper, but I let Rick number them and Rick's going to pour them because 2 of them have gold tops, 2 of them have silver tops. And I feel like that's going to help me work out what they are. And I want to go in completely blind and completely fair. So that being said, we have been in the US now for 2 weeks. Sorry if the audio is shit. I couldn't work out how to make my Bluetooth microphones work because I hadn't set them up prior to doing this as per usual. So we're just trying to make it work. My family are out so we can hopefully talk slightly louder and hopefully the audio is still okay enough that it's listenable. If not, apologies, and this will just be a bonus episode, I guess. But yeah, we've been in the US for 2 weeks now. Well, the US and Canada for 2 weeks.
Yes, yeah.
So quick rundown of what we did, just in case people think it's interesting. I'll try to write something up about it if I can make the time to do it. But we flew into Boston, drove up to Burlington, Vermont, which obviously we took a stop at Stowe to go to the Alchemist Brewery. Then we went up to Montreal, then back down through Portland for a few nights, and then back home to Boston. And then we went away to New Hampshire for a week and locked ourselves away in a summer house on Lake Winnipesaukee. So we are now we're mostly packed up, mostly beer and suitcases, paying for an overweight bag, fun stuff, and going home tomorrow night, landing in the morning the following day, get our dog, be reunited. What was your favourite parts of the trip?
I would say a combination of the glass blowing, the boat trip, and just Montreal in general. I think my top 3.
We did glass blowing in Burlington.
Yeah.
We did, as you said, Montreal, and then a boat trip in New Hampshire, and it was nice and sunny and awesome, and I lived my best life on a boat, and I feel like that's the life that I should have had, but I don't have it. Thank you to my parents for not giving me generational wealth. What brewery was your favourite? Because obviously this is a beer podcast.
Good point.
Because I also like the glass blowing.
I'm
that was
unprepared,
cool.
so I've not had a thought about it. I would say...
Yeah, he thought he was just pouring beers.
Yeah, I just thought I was just going to pour beers. I would say I really liked the Alchemist and their overall kind of what they stand for as a company. I'm not a massive fan of their beers, though. So I guess it depends on... They're just not my style. So I guess it depends on... As a company themselves, I like them. I like their idea, but not their beers.
It was interesting, though. Like, lots of stuff. We did a really quick blurb while we're there. Which I don't even know if you can hear us because it was a little bit windy and we were outside. And again, just like recording it on my phone and it was loud.
Yeah.
I think my favourite parts about it, just to summarize, because I would agree that was probably my favourite, is number one, there was an amazing barbecue place, literally walking distance away. We parked at the Alchemist, walked over.
I mean, I don't think that should be counted for or against.
No, but it was a bonus of visiting.
It's a bonus.
If you want to drive there to go visit.
It was really good barbecue, but I don't think that's fair.
I personally say skip the Alchemist's food truck. I haven't had food at the food truck, but skip that and go to the barbecue place because it was super fast service. The smokers were cool. It's from Nocturnal Brewing, which I believe is somewhere in North Carolina, I want to say. Like, it's a brewery in North Carolina, and they opened up barbecue. And the barbecue is great. The beers were great. So much diversity, like, in the beer choices. Their sour was phenomenal. Like, not too many other sours that you can have. It was great. And then the brewery itself, it was like they pay people a living wage. They take care of them. They, 100% of their tips go to charity because they're so well looked after. I'm trying to, like, off the top of my head, but it's like they give back to the community.
Yeah, they
so
recycle a lot of all their like waste that they use for, like, packaging the beers and stuff. All gets recycled.
They've gone out of their way to find how to recycle things.
Yeah, that's
that they
it.
Wouldn't normally.
They've literally gone out of their way to find companies to recycle things that aren't normally recycled. I think they said a lot of their plastic waste from, I can't remember, it was
their gloves. They have gloves.
No, I think I think something like it was the
to
waste
wrap the pallets
from the pallets that they then goes to that company that makes decking.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's something like 90% of it goes to a decking company. They also said they did something for the local like senior centre. They raised money for them.
It's not they raise money. Both their facilities have solar panels, and at one of their facilities, their smaller facility that's not the one that you necessarily go and visit. That's a little bit further away. They have the solar panels that then it covers the majority of that facility's electricity, I believe is the power.
Yeah, and
anything that's above and beyond that, they donate to a local senior centre. I would say probably the most interesting in a funny way was Bissell Brothers, because that was like going into like, it felt like, sorry for whoever I'm going to offend. I'm sorry, Ollie, because I know you really like Bissell Brothers, but it felt like going into like the McDonald's of beer, because it was so like, they had Bissell Brothers Crocs, Bissell Brothers Disc Golf. The facility itself was huge. It was so big.
Lots
and they had branded
everything.
Like literally
and
everything.
the Crocs were ridiculous. They were $85 for a pair of Crocs.
I don't like Crocs, but that was the first time I was ever tempted to buy Crocs because of the fact that I was like, when are you going to get brewery branded Crocs? And then I was like, how much are they? And he was like, $85. And I was like, I really want them. And then I was like, I still want them. No, because there's no tax there. Maybe there is tax. I can't remember.
You probably have to tip on top as well.
Yeah, you have to tip on top. And I was just like, but yeah.
Yeah, great.
I was tempted, but it was a no. That we had a really good trip, and hopefully I'll get to talk more about the trip itself in more detail, or write about it, or whatever. Blind tasting time. Let me get some glasses.
I was about to say, we haven't got any glasses.
I'll get the glasses out. So Rick has gone to get the beers out of the fridge. I am staying way over here because I don't want to see what he's doing. I don't even want to get a hint that I think I know what I'm talking about here. But again, refresh. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got circles. The cans themselves are labelled. He can show you the cans. I'll close my eyes if he shows you the cans. But they're all covered up so I can't see from the outside even if I happen to glance over. Just pour one at a time. Don't do like all of them at once because I need to be able to, if they're all in front of me, it might be, I don't know. I guess you could do all of them at once. What's the harm there? Yeah, I think my biggest thing at the moment that I'm a bit worried about is I'm a bit worried that I'm going to be like, this one's amazing. And it's going to be like the Bud Light. And then I'm going to like, because I'm going to be like in my own head, double guessing myself. Because I do that a lot. Be like, I think I know the answer to this. And then I start second guessing myself. And I think what I'm most worried about is I am most worried to just be like, oh, this one's terrible. This one's got to be the Bud Light. And then that one is the craft one. So which one's 1, 2, and then 3, 4. I'll lower this. So I'll lower the camera slightly so you can see. I'll push back slightly so you can see. Already I can see on this one, like the head is lasting longer. So initially, it could be the glass. And what we've, it could be the glass, it could be the way he's poured it. I'm not monitoring his pouring of it by any means. But the head's staying on this one the longest. It has like a really nice colour to it and comparative. So I want to say that is the craft one. But, oh, this one's alright as well. Oh, it's going to be... I'll show the front of the glasses. That's a bit fun. Bruins one. I think this one's a gin. Oh, no, it's Jack Daniels one. Fun. They are cold. They've been in the fridge. Nothing to it but to do it, I guess.
Okay,
oh, but then that's another one that's like, could be the glass. This head is lasting a really long time as well. Okay, so let me just get a pen. I'm not looking at the other things. I just want to be able to write down what I think is what. Got a pen. He's like labeled them. So I covered them in paper, put them in the fridge, walked away, let him take them out, reorder them, write whatever numbers he wanted on them, and then I've just put the mat down so that I can then keep track of 1, 2, 3, 4. Already this smells like a macro. It's when we did our episode, which would have come out already, it's basically like a light lager, just should have like no real flavor. Like there should just be 0 flavors. Like that's what I got out of like, if there's flavor, cool. But it doesn't need to have flavor to be really good quality for its, really good style guidelines. It just smells very grainy, cereally. Oh, it's really thin. I feel like that's either the Bud Light or the Coors. I'm making notes here so that I can work out. But that's only one sip in. I feel like I'm staring at him like he's going to tell me the answer, but I'm not sure he even knows what's behind it.
No, I don't. I don't know what it is.
It was quite drying as well. It's very thin, very little flavour. As it should be. I still think I'm overthinking it. And we've got this one here, which still has its head going strong. So, yeah. Okay, I'm going to take a sip of water. So I'm kind of comfortable that that's either Bud Light or Coors Light. Number 2. It's a little bit, so that the number 1 was like really, really light yellow, like you're dehydrated and you've gone to the bathroom. This one's slightly more yellow, more golden coloured. You can still see the carbonation bubbles going. There's still a little bit of lingering head on it, so that's good. It smells even more, it smells subtle, smells less grainy. There's less of anything, which I guess for the style is great. I want to say this is Miller. In one sip, I want to say number 2 is Miller. But maybe that's because I'm not minding this, and if it turns out to be Bud Light, I might be really sad. Because I feel like this one is tolerable. Like, I still wouldn't, like, pick this out to drink it out, but it's definitely more tolerable. Okay. Do you know which ones are which on yours?
I do now.
Okay.
I've made notes.
He's made notes. Apparently he's looked at them and he's made notes. So first pass, I think It's either Bud or Coors is number 1. Miller is number 2. Okay, number 3. Oh, this has a lot of aromas to it. It almost has a little bit more, I want to say like floral or soapy, which is probably not good because soapy's not particularly good, but I wouldn't say like soapy in an off way. I think it's more floral, more like, it smells almost a bit botanically, like it a little bit more botanical, which is a bit, I mean, to be fair, it doesn't really smell like a style guideline. I don't like that, I don't think. It's very thin, like really thin, watery thing.
So as well as guessing which one's which, can you rate them out of 10?
I can do if you want me to rate them out of 10. Do you want me to rate them out of 10 for style guideline or my preference?
Your preference.
Or both?
What you like. But guess what they are first.
One sip doesn't do it justice. I think there's a little bit more. I get the corn, like, so sometimes they do use like corn effectively in it, for lack of a better way to describe it, so it can get that like corn taste. It does have that like creamed corn taste to a degree, but not massively heavy. Like it is just like the corn grain type taste. You know what? I'm not sure about that one. Ooh, I feel like this could be any of them. Because I feel like there's more flavors going on. I don't feel like it's a Bud Light, but I haven't had a Coors Light in a while, so it could be a Coors. It could be a Miller. Maybe it could be the craft one. I don't know. Let me have the last one. I think you should try them as well.
I will. I'll try them and rate them. Yeah.
Okay, you can try them and rate them after.
I
That'll
won't
be
be able
fun.
to guess which is which. So I don't know.
I'm willing to say number 4. Ooh. This one, I want to say number 4 is the craft one. And I'll tell you why I think it's the craft one. Because there's a little bit more like citrusy notes to it. And there's a little bit more bitterness. There's a little bit more flavor than what you expect from an American light lager. And I think because of that, like when you have a macro brewery, it's really easy to kind of manipulate and play around with things to make it as close to the style guidelines and as little flavor as possible. And I feel like this one has more flavor. So I'm almost comfortable. So the craft one is, I believe, with switchbacks. So I want to say, I think this one, I can't remember if it was switchback or one of the Canadian ones, but I think this one might be the craft beer. It is still, like, I would say it's still light enough and thin, but there is some level of more citrusy notes than I think what you'd normally get in an American light lager. So now I've got to narrow down these last one. So let's go back round. I feel like that first one has to be Bud Light. Like,
so are you locking that in?
I think I'm
final
gonna
answer.
for the moment. Don't tell me. I'm gonna.
You need 4 final answers, then 4 ratings, then I will reveal.
Okay, I'm gonna say I think this one's Bud Light. I might change it in a minute, but that's Bud Light. And as far as the ratings go, I mean, in terms of the style guidelines, it's pretty spot on with what it should be.
Don't rate what it should be.
Well,
rate how much you like it.
It's hard because I think that the style guidelines of American light lagers are not for me per se, because it's just like no flavors. So I would say, can I put them in order of my first? Because I can't rate them out of 10.
Why not?
Because it's so hard when it's not my personal preference. Can I just put them in the order I like them?
No.
Okay, well, I'm still going to do that anyway.
You have to rate things.
You know I'm bad at rating things and putting numbers to them.
You need to lock in your 4 final answers first.
Okay.
That's the most important thing.
I'm doing it my way, so I'm going to say the style-wise, probably 9. Maybe it's probably a 10. Let's be real. My preference on that, let's say that's a 6. It's drinkable, but okay. Number 2. I'll work my way back around. I think I'm stuck between 2 and 3 because I feel like 2, 3, and potentially 4, but like. All right. I might say I'm stuck between 1 and 3 because I feel like 1 and 3, one of them is Bud Light and one of them is Coors. I think Miller's number 2. Okay. I think I've locked in the numbers. So I think number 1 is Bud Light, number 2 is Miller, number 3 is Coors, and number 4 is the Craft Brewery. Let me try Miller again. What I think Miller is. I think style-wise, it's a 9 because I think there's slight flavour there. And so I feel like it's also probably a 10, to be fair. My preference, I'd probably say it's really hard to rate my preference on these when it's just not my chosen style.
So rate it 2 if you need to.
8.
What?
Because it's drinkable.
So it's an 8 out of 10 as if that's one of your favourite beers? No.
Okay, if that's what we're talking.
Think,
if
no.
that's what we're talking.
Anyone
okay.
in the history of the world, if you ask someone to rate something out of 10, they're going to compare it against everything else that they've drunk, not just that style.
Okay.
As a beer, as a drink, as a drink to drink.
All right.
Give it a rating out of 10. How much you like it, not how much it's on point for style. How much you like it.
Okay, let me do the final one. Okay, I think I've worked it out.
Right, so have you got your final answers?
Yeah, and I feel really bad about it. So I've just speed ran it as well. So do you want to take the can over? I can open the can. Or do you want to do yours first?
I want to see. I want to see what your final answers are.
Okay, so I
got
think
lots of scribbles.
Bud Light's number 1.
So
I think.
So you reckon Bud Light number 1?
Number 1.
Okay, right.
Number 2, Miller.
Right.
Number 3, Coors.
Right.
Number 4 is the craft beer.
Okay.
Now my difficulty was, I think 2, 3, and 4.
Right.
I kind of was like between 1 and 3. That could be I thought it could be Coors, but then I was like maybe 1 could be, and I'm being thrown off. I'm fairly confident about 1. 2, 3, and 4. I feel like the more I drink it and the more the temperature changes of it, and I'm speed running it, the more I'm not as 100% confident in it.
Okay. Well, you've locked your answers in now.
Okay.
So you can't change.
And I think in terms of if I have to go with my preference, number 1 I give a 2.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not the one,
2 out of 10. Yeah.
2 out of 10
for number 1. What about number 2?
Miller, I'd probably give a 4, maybe a 5, maybe a 5.
5 out of 10.
Yeah, I'd say 5. Because I could drink it happily. If someone gave it to me, I'd happily drink it. It wouldn't be a problem.
Number 3.
3, I'd probably give it a 1.
Wow.
Because it's just I don't know. There's something. I felt like, again, I could drink it style wise.
If you could drink
it,
then why is it a 1 out of 10? 1 out of 10 would be it's disgusting.
Okay, it's not disgusting.
So it's not a 1 out of 10, is it?
Okay, can I change? I'm going to say 1 and 3 are probably 3s because neither of them are disgusting. Neither of them are simply cannot have it.
Okay.
But if we're talking about number 5 is my favourite beer ever.
There isn't a number 5.
Number 10 is my favourite beer ever.
Oh, 10
These
out
are
of 10, yeah. 10 out of 10 it's amazing. How do you not understand a out of 10
I'm
ranking?
just saying.
You're not even drunk.
I know, but all I'm saying is like...
Right, so you rated number 1 a 3 out of 10,
Yeah.
number 2 a 5 out of 10, number 3 a 3 out of 10.
Yeah.
What would you rate number 4?
Probably 6.
Okay, right.
I'm scared that this is going to
And
be...
you've locked your answers in.
Yeah.
100%. You're not going to change anything.
Yeah.
Okay, would you like the reveals? Would you
Okay.
like to do the reveals live?
Yeah. Live reveals as we
Live reveals.
speed run. Oh, I'm scared. All right, number 1. This is going to be bad,
You
isn't
can
it?
probably tell the minute you...
No, I can't. Ah, buddy! I got it. Number 1, Bud Light. Hey, it is definitely number 1. I'm not making it up.
Yeah, you're not cheating.
Woo! I didn't. Can you just vouch that I didn't cheat on
No, you
any
didn't
of this?
cheat. I did all the pouring.
Okay,
You didn't know
number
what was...
2. It's my boy, Miller. Miller time. Okay, this is the one I'm really stressed and scared the most about because
Number
I'm
3.
like number 3. Oh shit! 3 for 3, which means I'm 4
Which
for 4.
means you're 4 for 4, yeah.
Yes! Did you think I was gonna like massively biff it? Because I thought I was.
But you got the brew wrong.
Oh no, I couldn't remember if it was definitive. I couldn't remember if it was one we got in Vermont or one we got in Canada.
Regardless, you got them all right.
But we didn't. It's one we got in
you got them all right.
Portland.
Congrats.
So yay! All right, do you want to come on camera and have your sips?
Okay.
You can give them your ratings. That's fun. I like that.
Straight up, that bud does not look appetizing. It
Okay.
looks like...
Rick's gonna give his welcome to Rick's Beer Podcast. Rick's gonna give his ratings.
I mean, I'm obviously going to be biased now
Okay.
because I know what they are.
Yeah, give
but,
give your
I mean,
taste.
it doesn't smell nice.
I did it in a very unbiased way, I will say. Talk about it. What are you getting out of it?
I think this is my second time only ever having a Bud Light, and it's just
Because
tasteless.
it's terrible.
It just tastes. It's
Which-
so tasteless.
Style guidelines, that's perfect for the
Okay.
style. Have some water first.
Yeah.
Let me
honestly,
top up your
Bud
Miller.
Light's disgusting.
Okay. Have some of my water. Miller, not terrible.
Is that what this is?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it looks more. It's got more of a beer colour.
Yeah. Slightly more golden.
Yeah, it just tastes like Carlin or something.
Tastes like Carling.
Yeah, it's just
Okay.
it's tasteless, but less tasteless to
Okay.
me. It's definitely
Sometimes
not
you need like
disgusting.
multiple sips. Take like a second
2.
sip of it.
I'll
Third
take
sip
the
of it.
third on.
Because I was like talking shit on Miller, but actually when I went back and I had
No,
it
I
for the
don't like
episode, it was good.
I don't like it.
Don't like it. Okay.
It's not as bad as Bud Light though. Ugh.
Bud Light was definitely a brother. It was not
Bud
good.
Light's disgusting.
It was not good at all. Yeah.
This smells different.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Is it was a bit like soapy, but like I would say floral. That's where the soapiness is the floral element, and a bit like almost not really herbal, but like they were just not really spice, not really herbal. I think floral is just the way that I would say it.
It's disgusting as well.
It's disgusting. What would you rate them so far? What would you rate the Bud Light?
1 out of 10.
What would you rate the Miller?
2 out of 10. 2 out of 10.
So 2 2s out of 10 and
Yeah.
a 1 out of 10. Okay. Now
I generally feel sick.
definitive brewing company. This is timeless, an American light lager.
Detected at the front door.
I mean, that's the best of the worst, I guess. It's still pretty tasteless.
I just don't think that this is our style.
Yeah, that's like a 2.5, maybe a 3. It's not great.
Well,
No.
I don't dislike it. It's just
I
different.
do.
It doesn't taste as much like an American light lager as one would assume it would. So, yeah, that's everything. Rick's gone to get the door. I think my family's back. They're here. So I'm logging off now, and we'll do an intro later. See you on the other side.
Well,
There
there you go.
It's out there now. It is out there now. I mean, I, as you'll know by now, I didn't embarrass myself. I very clearly guessed them all correct, and I was very stressed about it initially because I think there were ones that was pretty much like I think I'm fairly certain this is it. And then I was like, oh, but what if it's not? What if I get it really
But you always do that. You
wrong?
always second guess yourself.
And that's why I really tried not to second guess myself. But I was like, oh, if I've messed this up, oh, it's gonna be so embarrassing. But to be fair, we also did it. We did it at work. This is what I feel like is potentially quite unfair. So we did it at work for Halloween, where there's a few different games to play at our Halloween party, and one of them was like blind tasting beer, and everyone was like, well, obviously you're going to get this. The problem was I only got 2 out of the, how many were there? 1, 2, 3, 6. I only got 2 out of the 6, right? And the ones that I got were, so the beers that were there were Peroni, Stella, San Miguel. There was a Pilsner. That was, I'm not even sure like what the brand was. It was just a Pilsner.
A Pilsner.
A Pilsner. There was the Proper Job IPA knockoff. That's like not Proper Job, but it's like the Decent Career or something like that, whatever it's called. And then
Decent
a Heineken.
Career.
I don't know. I can't see the name on it. Harper's Brewing Co. It's their IPA, which basically sort of looks like Proper Job. And then there's Heineken, and the 2 that I got correctly were that, Decent Career and
the IPA because
the Heineken.
Flaves.
Because the IPA is obviously very different from the lagers, and Heineken because that has a very and I knew immediately, like I had the Heineken and I was like, that's Heineken, like I know for a fact that's Heineken. And I was like, that was the first one I sipped and I was like, yep, immediately yes. The rest of them I didn't get, but I think I can explain why I didn't get them. It's because they were sat out of the fridge for quite a fair amount of time. So they were a bit warm.
Making it even worse.
This is the thing, is because the people that were sort of like doing it, they're not beer drink. It's meant to be a fun, light-hearted game, and it was. So that's why I was like, look, I'm not. I was like, I'm firmly zipping my mouth on it.
Put my beer geek glasses back on and be like, oh, well, actually, you should be serving those at 2 degrees Celsius.
There was one where I was like, well, actually. So that was point number 1, was like, they weren't cold enough. They had been out of the fridge for quite a long time. But again, I was like, I'm not going to say anything because this is not about the beer. It's just about the partaking. It's about the fun. But everyone was like, oh, you're obviously going to get them. And I was like, I don't know if I am. And I was like, and I'll tell you for why. Because they're warmer than they should be, 1. And 2, a lot of these all taste incredibly similar. Because they're brewed at such a scale that they are all going to taste very similar, especially when warm.
And it's not like you're drinking like a lot of Peroni and Stella and whatever, like, so you know them off. Like,
no, Heineken I was like dead easy, and the IPA I was like dead easy because that's hoppier than everything else. But like the other ones I was like, it's very difficult. And then to top all that off, they were poured out, basically it was kind of poured out into these plastic cups. And then you kind of had to like take another plastic cup and pour some of it into the cup and drink it.
So the carbonation's gone.
The carbonation's gone. It wasn't cold, and because it wasn't even sat in the bottle for you to pour, it lost any cold that the bottle was insulating. And then obviously using the same cup every time and not rinsing it out. Because I was like, I'm not gonna be the dickhead that's like, I need to go rinse my cup out for a bit of fun. It was meant to be light-hearted fun, and I'm here like, this is a beer judging competition. We need to blind guess what these are. I was like, I'm not going to make it that serious. It's not that deep. It is not that deep. Brilliant. They're just trying to have fun with us. Do not. And I was like, just shut your mouth. Do not say anything. So I only guessed 2 out of the 6 correct. But my justification for it is it was definitely not the ideal serving conditions. But when it isn't the ideal serving conditions, i.e. it's just come out of the fridge straight into a proper glass, stored properly, I did all right. I was just like, I can't imagine if I put all my money on this particular beer and then I get that wrong. I'm like, Adam, it's the craft one, and it's like Budweiser, and I'm like,
can you remember which one was your favourite?
I think it was. I can picture the can, but I can't remember which brewery I got it from. It was one of the ones either in Portland or Vermont. And I didn't do my homework by rewatching it before we did this because I can't remember exactly which one it was. But it was a white label It was a mostly white label, and I think it had blue and red on it as well. That one was probably my favourite one, I think. But yeah, I just hope I did everyone proud with the little flavours I had to
I'm
work
sure you
with.
did. I'm sure you did. And then, of course, listeners, if you want to do your own blind beer tasting, I have a kit for that, just in case you weren't sure how to do it. So I'll put the link for that. It's in my Etsy shop if you want to do a proper blind beer tasting or train your palate with blind beer tastings.
Well, Joe,
I've got a
plug
kit
it
for that.
all. Plug
I've got
all
a
your
kit for that.
stuff. Where can people find you to find all that?
Well, if you wanna come and talk to me about blind beer tasting and things like that, you can come find me. I'm on Instagram as Love Beer Learning. You can also come to my website, which is lovebeerlearning.co.uk, and there's lots of different beer stuff and beer resources and things like that on my blog there. Or you can just email me if you can't find it. Be like, hey, where's this thing? And I'll send it to you, or I'll send you the link to it. And that is lovebeerlearning@gmail.com. Tori, if people want to ask you about why you subjected yourself to this, where can they get hold of you?
Oh yeah, I literally had to run to the liquor store specifically to try to buy these single cans of beers, and there was nothing more, like, they didn't know, but there was nothing more embarrassing for me in my life than walking up with some of the cans that I had to walk up with at the till in this lovely liquor store with plenty of really nice flavors in there. But to each their own. I'm not yucking someone's yum. But if you want to come talk to me about my experience there, or if you want to recommend some more blind beer, if you want Rick to come back on and help me blind beer taste more things, because I think he gets a kick out of when people enjoy and comment on him being in the episodes. He'll really like that. You can send me a message and I'll pass it on to him at adventures_in_hoptimism on Instagram, or you can email me at adventuresinoptimism@gmail.com. And of course, you can send us both if you want to see us both do blind beer tasting again. I think we previously, like a really long time ago, covered up cans and sent them to each other.
We did.
But what could be even more fun, because that one was like you have to guess the style, everything, and there were hints about like what brewery it might be or what the name might be, and you got points for all that. We could keep it more simple and we could just do specific categories. So if people want to see us blind beer tastings again, send each other beers or order beers from somewhere doing a blind taste testing, let us know. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook at A Woman's Brew, or you can email us at awomansbrewpodcast@gmail.com. If you want to find a way to sort out some blind tasting for us, point us in the direction of a blind tasting.
We'll go by
email us. Let us know. But yeah, that's all for now. Hope you enjoyed that. It was a quick one, but did the job. See you later.
Cheers.
Cheers.